Hello and welcome to the kind of longer form video talking about basically skill-based matchmaking and its impact on my personal playing experience. So there is also a short form video, I think it's about 10 minutes long, that just kind of quickly goes through the high level results. This is the longer form video that I can kind of talk a bit more about the design and kind of the stats, maybe a bit more in detail than kind of just trying to get the results out to people in a kind of shorter video that's easier to digest. So yeah, the kind of whole idea is an attempt to quantify the impact of skill-based matchmaking on me as just one singular data point, because I think that a lot of people give out about skill-based matchmaking, but I'm not sure I've ever seen someone try and actually get a number or quantify the actual impact on them. So yeah, this experiment is kind of an attempt to do that basically. So I should talk a bit more about myself before we go on. I've been playing Call of Duty since Call of Duty 4, the original. I literally have every title in disc format in my gaming drawer. Yeah, played them all every year basically. The only time I got turned off them before skill-based matchmaking was the thing was like Infinite Warfare and the jetpacks and stuff, which I think a lot of people didn't enjoy. So kind of turns a bit more to Battlefield in times of need. So I don't know if skill-based matchmaking keeps on going the way it's going. I kind of really rooting for Battlefield, the one that's upcoming now. Hopefully it's quite good, and I'm definitely going to be giving that a good go when it comes out. Kind of hoping that it's good. But yes, so yeah, haven't played Call of Duty for that long. I suppose you can consider me old at this stage. I'm 30 years old. I am a fully qualified actuary, so I like to think of myself as quite decent with stats in Excel at this stage, as you'll hopefully have see in front of you. It's a whole Excel based way of getting the data across, and yeah, so that's kind of a bit more about me. Yeah, so let's have a look then kind of at the study design in a bit more detail. So I did the data request to Activision to kind of get all the career statistics from them. It's quite the bundle of data they give you, but I put that into a different spreadsheet and then basically filtered it just to get domination game mode out, because I usually play a good bit of search and destroy as well, but I obviously don't want that in there because it's a totally different game mode and different kills per game, and it just kind of ruined those kill per game and deaths per game stats. So yeah, basically filtered out those other game modes just to get domination. And kind of the key metrics we'll be talking about is excess kills, which is kills minus deaths. So excess kills per game then as well, kills per game, deaths per game, and kill death ratio. Didn't keep track of wins or losses because I'm just a typical COD player and I don't really care too much about wins and losses. I'm just there for kills. Yeah, and then part 2 is playing 40 domination games on the 4 titles in 2025, and I just manually tracked kills and deaths and the map for those 40 games each, and then kind of did some summaries into the kind of same key metrics as the career stats, so we can kind of do a comparison on that. And then just part 3 is just comparing them. So before we get onto the actual stats in a bit more detail, then there's a few notes to go through. There's a few kind of caveats in that as well. Like I'm assuming 40 games is a large enough sample size to reduce the noise and variance and see trends and kind of comment on the results. Other big assumption, the 2 bold ones here are basically the biggest assumptions. What I'm saying is that for the recent 40 games in the 3 older titles, I don't think they have a big enough player base that skill-based matchmaking can do its job effectively. And I think for the career games, which is part one, they were all played when they were the current COD. So basically, I think the player base was big enough that skill-based matchmaking was doing its job effectively at the time. So that means that I can kind of compare Modern Warfare 2019 career versus Modern Warfare 2019 40 games. And I can say that it's basically skill-based matchmaking on for the career, and it's basically off for the recent 40 games. And I can do that for the 3 previous titles, for like the 3 older titles being 2019, 2 and 3, versus Black Ops, which has skill-based matchmaking on for the recent 40 games and also on for the career, because it's still the current Call of Duty. Other things I'm trying to say, like I didn't bias myself to play better or worse on the CODs. I just kind of played with an assault rifle or sometimes with a sniper rifle if it felt like that was better for the map or whatever, and I just kind of tried my best every game. No kind of playing differently if the game was going poorly, like sitting in a corner going, oh, I'll just protect my KD or here. Just kind of tried to play the game as it was in front of me, and as I said, yeah, trying my best each time, and no rage quitting either if it was going too poorly. So yeah, other bits and pieces, all the games are played in the PS5, similar times a day, same account, same setup, headset, screen, exactly all by me. Yeah, every game is played till termination. Joined some games mid-game, but I didn't count them if they were kind of too short in length. Yeah, the other thing to note is this might be slightly more have an impact as well. I played most of the games solo queuing, not in a party. So I think the Call of Duty experience for solo players is probably worse, or a lot worse than a party of people in and around a similar level playing together, because you're kind of getting around skill-based matchmaking somewhat by at least your team being good, like. So then, yeah, similar kill streaks were selected kind of where possible, somewhere, or the game's version of a Predator, Missile Harrier, and AC-130. Personal equipment or all, whatever I wanted to choose, and crossplay is turned off in all of these games, so it was all on the PS5 against PS5 players. Some limitations then to talk about. Don't need to talk about the cheat descriptions, I'll talk about them anyway when we get there, and the metrics kind of already talked about. Yeah, so other notes or limitations, basically different games have different game design choices, player movement speed, recoil, weapon handling, perks, kill streaks, etc., how good kill streaks are and all that. So some of them are going to impact my performance and my playstyle based on how much I think I think it may be a slightly slower game style suits my play, rather than kind of sprinting around, sliding and ducking and diving. So I'm just going to play slightly better in game modes like that. So just kind of something to note there. Different maps, of course, will have different impact on performance as well. Just people naturally play better on some maps than others. Yeah, I did the Damascus, Orion, and Interstellar camo grinds in the old games. So if you're looking at my career stats, you could say that obviously probably negatively impacted some of my career stats in there to make them look slightly worse than they would have been if I had just tried with an AR in every single game. Yeah, one other kind of limitation in here as well, which might be a slightly bigger thing, is that the current player base playing the old games, I think might be different in nature or skill to the current Call of Duty. Now, I don't quite know how to think about this, because like with skill-based matchmaking on, I can't judge how like what the rest of the player base is like in the newer CODs, because all I see is people in and around my skill level. When I jump into the old games, I see some worse people, but I just don't know what to think about that. I just don't know if it it's because they just kind of don't care about COD and they just haven't bought the new one, so they just play whatever COD they have type thing. That could mean you're just running into players that are actually just worse at the game and like don't care about it as much. So just slight limitation there, I think. Yeah, kind of saying that my guess is that there's probably a slightly worse player base on average left on the older games. I think people that care about the game more would shift onto the newer game quicker, but I think it's kind of difficult to judge. Yeah, just in here, similar level of try-harding was applied each game, like I said before. Yeah, just other bits, confidence, stress, tiredness, and all that. Like I'm playing these games at night after a day of work and stuff, so all that could somewhat impact the results. But yeah, I just think that kind of over 40 games, you're just kind of slowly eliminate the kind of randomness from these bits and pieces. Hopefully. That's kind of most of the limitations and assumptions that I want to talk through. There if you want to read the rest of them though. Yeah, so just actually got the results then. Just domination. It's not too exciting to look at them individually here really. It's more so just here they are, like the summary I think is more obvious to see what's kind of going on. Yeah, and it's just KD in around 1.1 to 1.2. Yeah, kind of I think standard enough kills per game and deaths per game. They're all in and around the same level here, given the same excess kills, which gives in and around 1 KD. Like it's just not too exciting really. Yeah, so I think the more fun kind of bits come from playing the older games in 2025. And let's say start with Modern Warfare 2019. So what you're looking at here is literally the results of each 40 games is per row here. Kills, deaths, KDR in that game. Elims is there as well, just because Black Ops wasn't giving me kills, but I think I got the kills then from the data request anyway. And then excess kills, it's literally kills minus deaths. That's elim death ratio, but I didn't use that for anything. And then just the actual total KDR, which is basically a rolling average of all the games so far, which is this black line here on the chart. And then these bars are basically the excess kills per game as well. So as I said in the other video, I've kept the axis the same on these charts across the 4 titles here, so you can kind of quite quickly visually see the difference over the games. And it's just quite a similar story, I think, between these 3 games. Yeah, it's just very green, very positive KD in the end between these 3 games, and then just such a stark change when it comes to Black Ops 6 with skill-based matchmaking basically being turned on. Just after this initial cutoff, like initial period, it's just a lot more red, way smaller green bars, and just way more up and down to basically whittle me down to a 1 KD. Yeah, and as I said, there's just there's no way of seeing myself get better at the game. You don't feel good at the game, and you're getting in-game KDs of 0.75 and getting like 37 deaths a game and stuff like that. It does not feel fun to me, and I just feel better at the game than going 28 for 37, but there's just no indication of that in the game in its current state. Yeah, I talked about it in the short form video as well, but this just feels really algorithmically generated. From here onwards, it's just the same story, and this is just such an outlier of just a couple of games that I got like 1.9 KD on, and like one game 56 for 7. it just doesn't. It just feels so out of place versus looking at the KDs of all of these other games. It's like it's just so out of place. Like the max kills and all the rest of the games is 36, so I beat that by 20, which is a huge difference. Like, and like the KD of 8, like there's not even close to that. The max being 2.7 there, like 19 for 7. It's only 15 excess kills. Sorry, it's only 8 excess kills, and like this is 46 excess kills. Like that is such a stark contrast between that and this, with the max excess kills in this period being 11. It just feels so ungenuine that this run of games was given to me because I was just back to Black Ops 6 after a week or two of having not played it. It just feels like they just gave me easier games to get me back into it and kind of show me, oh, isn't this a great game? You're having such fun. And then they just turn skill-based matchmaking back on, and my KD just dropped slowly back down to 1 where they want me to be. So yeah, this really feels quite generated. And yeah, the KD over the 40 games was 1.08, but the KD without that initial period was 0.93. Yeah, just you'd nearly be tempted to just completely ignore these first 7 and just do 7 more games, but it's been too long since I did the games anyway. I wonder if I went back now, would they give me some initial period like this again? It might be worth a look. But yeah, just ignoring the initial period, just this is just such a stark difference to the other games. It's just such a different vibe, such a different fun level. Like back in these old games, was getting kill streaks and going on runs. It's game 28 for 0, 58 for 7. Just having fun in these games, like and just not having that apart from the initial period in Black Ops. Like these are just hard slog of games, like, and there's just no let up. It's just you don't know what you're going to get next. Every game is just a fight and a slog, and it's just you don't even see yourself getting better. You don't feel good at the game. It's just like, what's the point in playing as a solo player? Like friends don't play the game anymore anyway, so it's just playing by myself just for no fun. Like but I did have great fun playing the older games for sure. And all that is kind of summarized here then, much like the career domination summary. I've also put in Black Ops 6 without the run, as I call it, just because it's a little bit, it's just different versus the total. Like it has enough of an impact to make the numbers positive instead of like negative. But yeah, kills, more on the older games, nearly half the deaths versus Black Ops, like, and then excess kills just way up. So that's kind of versus Black Ops, but if you versus the career summary, per game over here is all we can look at because there's more games played here. But like KD 1.08 to 1.22 versus 2.7, 3 and 2.5 now. It's just so different. And then excess kills per game in around 17 for the 2 newer titles versus 3 and 1 in the career, which kind of just to me really shows the impact of skill-based matchmaking. It's all kind of summarized a bit more here as well. This is literally now the 40 games versus the career games, and on the left hand side of these bar charts is the career games, on the right hand side is the recent 40, and it's just such a gulf in KD. Kills per game, deaths per game is down, and then just the excess kills per game is just so different. And kind of quantifying that as the fun that you would have in the game, like. So it's massively reducing the fun that I'm having in the game from, these are quite good games, jumping into a game and expecting to get 17 kills more than deaths versus one, like, and then Black Ops just shows basically the same numbers again, because skill-based matchmaking has been on for both the 40 games and the career, so it makes a lot of sense that these numbers are quite close together. And then just actually to quantify the KDR differences there as well, like it's up 0.85, it's up 1.83, it's up 1.4, and then it's basically the same KDR here versus 40 versus none. So yeah, per game or per title here, this kind of feels like the impact that skill-based matchmaking has had on me for these games. So to summarize what those 40 games look like as they progressed over the 40 games, see the excess kills here again just grows for the newer titles, and then just stays level for Black Ops in around the 60 mark, which all came from the initial period, and it's just basically level or even slightly tilted down there for the rest of it, which is exactly represented in this kind of KDR over the 40 games as well, just straight up, and then it seemingly turned back on or whatever at the random, even if it wasn't some algorithmic thing. It's like skill-based matchmaking, just if it was just randomness, then skill-based matchmaking eventually just did its thing anyway and got me back down to 1. But these games again just way higher than Black Ops, and it's just such a stark difference here between these KDs and the 1.2 to 1.1 that I was seeing when I was playing them when they were the current Call of Duty. And then the last thing to talk about is if we can consider these 3 games to have skill-based matchmaking off, what does that look like as skill-based matchmaking off versus skill-based matchmaking on? So it's just an average of these 3, which is this purple line now. It's over 40 games, 600 kills versus 60. So there's a missing 540 kills there over a 40 game span if skill-based matchmaking is turned off versus on for me, which is quite large per game over here. 15 kills per game versus 1.5 excess, so a difference of 13.5 kills per game skill-based matchmaking being on versus off is really quite a huge difference per game. And it's like a 2.5 KD versus 1.08 KD. So I feel like a 2.5 KD player being nerfed down to a 1.08 KD, which just doesn't give a nice feel. I don't feel good at the game at this KD. Like, just feel average, because like 1 KD feels average. Like, so it's hard to get excited about playing the multiplayer. Like, once I put all, like, playing away and getting annoyed at skill-based matchmaking before doing this experiment, and then kind of finally had the idea to do it, and then once I did the experiment and kind of saw these results, it's like, why am I bothering at all to play Call of Duty multiplayer? It's just a algorithmically generated waste of my time. Like, just trying to keep me at 1. There's no notion of getting better at the game, or it's showing you that you're better, or that you're in high skill lobbies or anything like that. It's just game after game of getting trashed, or like, oh, you grinded out a 1.2 KD there in that game, the next one will probably be in and around 0.8 KD to make sure you're back at 1. Like, so this just doesn't feel nice at the moment. And having put this together, I probably haven't even played, like I did these games a couple of months ago really, but I haven't really played multiplayer at all since, because just having seen the results just really puts a bad taste in my mouth with Call of Duty and the multiplayer. I think a lot of that could be done away with if they have to keep skill-based matchmaking as is, which they probably will do. Like if they removed it, that would be nice, obviously, because it'd probably be like these games back here. But they probably won't do that. If they reduce the strength of it as well, maybe that would have some impact. But I just think most likely they're going to keep it as it is. If they kept it as it is, as I said in the short form video, I just really think they should introduce an ELO system or some type of skill metric that's it's easy to understand, and you get better at the game. Maybe your KD doesn't change too much, but your skill rank number goes up. I do think it's nearly as simple as that. If people were grinding for ELO, they maybe wouldn't mind that their KD's in around 1. At least you would know that your rank is from skill is going up, or you're fighting for that, and that's the one number you would have to kind of say how good you are and boast to your friends and stuff. But there's nothing like that in COD at the moment. And yeah, the one other thing I said in the short form video is just that it's kind of like it's probably too similar to ranked, but like the public games are like ranked at the moment anyway. It's just that the all this skill is going on in the background, you just don't see it. So just I think one number for skill somewhere, like an ELO, that's displayed in the stats and even in the game, your change from what it was to what it is after the game, I think would just go a long way to easing everyone's issue with skill-based matchmaking. Yeah, I think that's kind of it for what I wanted to talk about in the longer form video. Just a bit more discussion around how I kind of got the numbers together and designed the study a bit, and just kind of the limitations and it's a setup and assumptions to kind of talk about. It just wouldn't have fitted well in a shorter form video. Yeah, thank you for listening to all that. If you stayed for this long, yeah, it's annoying having to make a video like this, to be honest. I just prefer Call of Duty to be in a good place, like it has been for years and years. But yeah, it just feels like it's necessary after having done the experiment and seeing such a difference in kills, excess kills, and KDRs. Just like, yeah, bad taste in your mouth. Just wanted to put it out there, and just see if anybody cared enough as well to try it themselves, see if they get similar. But yeah, kind of haven't played, as I said, like haven't played multiplayer basically since I did this experiment, and not much desire to go back to it much at all. Even whatever they do with Black Ops 7, just don't have that much desire at the moment for it. I'm sure I'll probably buy it, which is probably a bad idea, and log on and play the multiplayer a bit. I normally say at minimum get the snipers gold. That's what I did in Black Ops 6 anyway. But yeah, then after that, it's like skill-based matchmaking is as ramped up as it has been in the CODs recently. There'd be no reason to play it beyond that. Yeah, so kind of hoping that the new Battlefield is good. Might be an easy shift from COD into that if that's fun. Hopefully it's quite good. But yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to talk about in this longer form video. So yeah, as I said, thank you for watching if you made it this far.